Hello, everyone. Welcome to our review committee training. This is Shelley Rude-Wernick, Director of JF&A's Center for Advancing Holocaust Survivor Care, and we're all very excited that you are part of our review committee this year. This webinar is going to be recorded in case you want to go back to any of the sections. Some of them are pretty technical in nature, so you certainly have the ability to go back, and if there's anyone who misses this go-around, they can certainly access the recording. First of all, thank you so much for joining us on this review committee. You are an integral part of this entire application process and are an integral part of our integrity as grant makers. You are a panel of 31 experts in areas such as trauma-informed care, aging services, program management, refugee services, and a number of other areas that lend your expertise to helping figure out which are the very best proposals that we receive for this federally funded program. Many of you are returning review committee members, and I'm so pleased to hear that because it means that you find value in our process and it is a meaningful experience for you, and I hope that it is going to be an equally meaningful experience for new review committee members who are joining us this year. I am going to give you a little bit of background, just a very brief overview on the grant program, and then turn it over to Amanda Jarvis, Assistant Project Manager, to go over the details of how you will conduct the review of the proposals. So a little bit of background. We are the Jewish Federations of North America's Center for Advancing Holocaust Survivor Care. We run in partnership with the federal government and private philanthropists, we run a grant program to help award subgrants to local agencies to provide person-centered, trauma-informed care to services to Holocaust survivors. And you've all had an opportunity to see our RFP, which is also on our website. That RFP will actually be the best primer for you in order to understand what we're looking for in these applications. That's what the applicants received, and it also has scoring information too. So if you haven't had a chance to see that RFP, please go ahead and look at that on our website, which is holocaustsurvivorcare.org. Another part of our work, in addition to awarding these grants and helping the organizations execute the grants to the highest ability, is that we provide technical assistance and training to others outside of our grantees, others in the Aging Services Network who may serve Holocaust survivors or other older adults with a history of trauma. So we're taking the information that we learn from these grant programs and applying them more broadly to help others. To that end, we're actually hosting a training workshop here in Washington, D.C. later on in September 24th and 25th. As reviewers, you are all invited to come. You can find information about that training workshop on our website as well on the tab under Training Workshop. And we can also send you an email about it that has a registration link in case you want to come and join and see some of the subgrantees who will be there. We only, of course, ask for your professionalism and discretion in not revealing yourself as a reviewer to any of the potential applicants who you might meet. I think that is enough for background right now. I would like for Amanda Jarvis to go over the process that you will use as a reviewer to score these applications. And then I will come back and join you for some analysis of what your scores will actually mean in our process. So, thank you.
Thank you, Shelley. So once again, I'm Amanda Jarvis, Assistant Project Manager for the JF&A Center for Advancing Holocaust Survivor Care. So as Shelley mentioned, this webinar will be recorded, and we will also email out the PowerPoint, so you don't have to worry about taking notes during this call. And please feel free to email us any questions you may have after the call is over. So today we're going to cover exactly what SMA is. SMA is SurveyMonkey Apply, and I'll get into what that means for you. We're going to cover first steps and the signing up process, how to access your assigned applications, how to score applications, how to take your scores offline so that you can do it on the go, and some next steps for all of you. What is SurveyMonkey Apply? SurveyMonkey Apply is best described as a holistic application and grant management platform. Basically, it's the application hosting platform that we started using last year for our Delta applicants, and as well as this year for our fifth-year ECHO applicants. It's very user-friendly, and it allows you to save and return to your work from any computer. Some first steps for reviewers. As Shelley mentioned, the RFP, the request for proposals, is going to be very helpful and really a way of understanding how everything is scored. So we highly recommend reading it, and the link will be in the PowerPoint that we send out. We suggest listening to the recording that explains the RFP to applicants for just a few extra details and a more full coverage understanding. And we also suggest that you read the guidance that we sent to subgrantees on religious activity so that you have an understanding of what is and is not allowed in an application. For our returning reviewers, if you are a member of our review committee last year, then SurveyMonkey Apply will look familiar to you. You will not need to create a new SurveyMonkey Apply profile, but if in case you no longer have your password from last year, it's very easy to reset it with SMA. There's going to be on the login page a little link that says forgot your password, and you can just click that, and SMA will assist you with resetting it. You will have received an email from SMA with your new application assignments and a prompt to log back in. For new reviewers, we have sent out invitations already that include your new assignments. So once you get this invitation, then you can start with the signing up process. And this is what it will look like over here on the right. Invitations were sent to the email you signed up to join the review committee with. If you do not see it in your inbox, please check your spam folder or your junk folder. And if you still have not received it, please feel free to contact us and we will make sure you receive an invitation. You need to accept the invitation by clicking Join Now, which will prompt you to set up an SMA account. Please write down the password that you use, and that's the password that you will use going forward every time you log in to SMA. You'll get an email confirming that you signed up for an account, which will then bring you back to the site. And then when you've already been assigned your applications, so you will, once you've logged in, see the review dashboard in the lower right-hand corner that explains the where the assigned applications are. And to open the applications that you have been assigned, you will see a list after you've clicked the button on the last page. And you'll see the list of applications and the word Start next to each one of them. So to begin, you click Start next to the application you'd like to review. And by default, your screen is going to split into two halves to make reviewing easier. The left half will have the application that you've clicked on, and the right half will have the review questions. And then you can scroll through them separately. As you're reviewing the questions, you're going to be saving as you go along. You have the choice at the bottom of each page of questions to either save and continue and just keep reviewing that same application, or save draft, which will just save this in your account, and then you can return to it later. As you review the budget, let the RFP be your guide for what is and is not allowable, and always feel free to contact JF&A for details if you have questions that stump even the RFP. Here are some guidelines to keep in mind. Expenses and revenue should be equal to each other in the budget. is the budget reasonable to meet the goals proposed in the application? And please note that all subgrantees are required to contribute a minimum match equal to 25% of the total program budget. This match may be comprised of cash, in-kind contributions, or a combination of both. Taking your review offline is something you might be interested in doing. To do this, you can download and print a copy by clicking on the three dots all the way on the right on your review dashboard and clicking Download Application. You can also download your review once you've completed it so that you have a copy to keep with you. But please keep in mind that all scores must be submitted via SurveyMonkey Apply, not emailed or handwritten. We recommend that you save your scores after each application is reviewed and submit all of your scores at once. This allows you the opportunity to ensure that the score you've given to each proposal is correct and scores cannot be resubmitted. If you don't like the final score and would like to edit it, then save your draft and click Return to the previous page to change your score. Once you click Mark as Complete, your score is submitted and cannot be changed. So this is especially helpful as you are comparing the way you've scored different applications. Once you've submitted, you can any of your assigned applications, you can click Return to Assignments, and you'll be returned to the portal that will show any additional applications you've been assigned. And you'll see the application you've just reviewed with a green check mark next to it. That is a way to check to make sure you've completed it. And that mark will only show up after you've clicked Mark as Complete. I'm going to give this back to Shelley so that she can explain to you how important your scoring is for this process.
Thank you. Before I go into the overall scoring assessment, just a couple of notes that might be helpful along the way. You'll notice that each question is worth either 5, 10, 15, or 20 points. Please pay attention when you're looking at it. It'll have the number in there of how many points it is worth, and think about what score you want to give them on that scale. They're weighted that way because some questions, the answers are more important to the success of a program than other questions might be. So an answer that is very important to the success would be worth maybe 20 points, where an answer that's less important to the success of the project is only worth 5. But you'll still be judging each question on its own merits. So if there's a 5-point question and you think that it was, perfect, the best possible answer, you give it 5 points. If there's a 20-point question and you think it was perfect, the best possible answer, you give it 20 points. And if you think that it was mediocre on a 5-point question, you would give it 2 or 3. And if you think it was mediocre on a 20-point question, you would give it about 10. So please adjust that scale in your minds as you're thinking about each question, because they are worth different numbers of points. Another point to note is that there are areas where you can enter comments. Please feel free to enter in those comments as you go along. When we share your scores with the other review committee members, they're not going to have the opportunity to see your comments. You can see your comments, and we will be able to see all of your comments, but the full review committee won't see all of your comments. So if there is something that you want to discuss on the phone call with the full committee, please make sure to raise it on the phone call and maybe jot that comment down in the overall section of your comments so that you know that there's something that you want to raise. Those overall comments are going to be very helpful to us. Another note about comparing. So Amanda mentioned not to click Mark as Complete until you're very sure that these are the scores you want to submit. A common question that reviewers ask us is, should they be comparing one proposal to another in their group of proposals? Well, we're not exactly asking you to compare proposals to each other. Each proposal ought to be measured against the scoring rubric set in the RFP. What we do want you to compare is your assessment of how you judge each proposal. So if there is one proposal that you think is absolutely fantastic, and you scored it highly across the board, then that would come out to a high score in the end, maybe a 90 to 100%. If there's another proposal that you think is atrocious, that's an exaggeration, we rarely get atrocious ones, but if there's one that you didn't think very highly of and don't think it'll be successful, and you notice at the end that that score lies between a 90 and 100%, then that would be a chance for you to reassess how you've been evaluating each one as you go along. That's why we want you to not submit your final scores until you've had a chance to review all the proposals, save them as draft, see what you're giving them all in the end, and think to yourself, rank them in your mind. You can rank them, at least rank them according to how you think that they should be scored. And the ones that you thought better of should be getting the higher scores than the ones that you did not think as highly of. So that's why it's very important to not click mark as complete until you've had a chance to go through all of them. So this screen that you see right now that says what your score means gets to that a little bit. We received more proposals than we'll be able to fund. That is the case always, and these are very difficult decisions. So as you go through it, we hope that we will be able to score all of the proposals that are scored at the highest level, the 90 to 100%. If the final score ranges between an 80 to an 89%, there's a good chance that proposal can be funded as well. There might be some gaps or concerns that we need to address in the proposal. A lower score of about 70 to 79% is kind of on the fence, whether or not that would be able to receive funding. And beyond that, if they score a 60 to 69% or anything lower than that, it really shows that this application is not strong enough to receive funding at this time. You see some references to the word stage 2 on this screen. Our application consists of 2 stages. Stage 1 is what you will be reviewing. The applicants fill out all of their information, they submit it, and we give it all an initial score. That is stage 1. This is the point after stage 1 at which we make our decisions as to which agencies to fund and at what level. Stage 2, those applications that advance to stage 2 have an opportunity to make minor adjustments or corrections or fill in missing information or answer some questions that maybe the reviewers had for them. It's not stage 2 is not an opportunity for inadequate proposals to become adequate. It's not a second chance, in other words. Only proposals that we are intending to fund will advance to stage 2. So if there are some gaps or concerns that need to be addressed in a proposal that will likely be funded, stage 2 is the place where that can be addressed. And lastly, I just wanted to let you know that we worked with SMA last year, and the process worked out pretty well for us, but it is still fairly new. So if you notice any mistakes or glitches in the technology, please notify us immediately. We don't expect there to be any, but of course there always can be. So if you find something is not working the way that you think that it should, or have any trouble at all, please contact us as soon as possible so that we can help you navigate it, or if there is something on the back end that we need to contact SurveyMonkey Apply about, that we can do so. So whoever is first to do all your reviewers, you would certainly be helping everybody else if you find a mistake somewhere. Don't hesitate to reach out to us. Again, I don't expect any to be in there, but you never know, so please don't hesitate to reach out. We are going to go over a little bit about the timeline for this review process. Thank you all. You've already passed the first deadline, which is notifying us of any conflicts of interest with those applications to which you will be reviewing, and you have all notified us. Thank you very much. We have assigned you proposals based on what you told us. We have already sent your application assignments, so you should have those in your email. Please take a look and make sure you can access all of those assignments. The sooner you let us know, the better. That way we can help you get started on these right away. I know some reviewers have different styles, and some people like to print out all of their applications and take them home. I like to do work like that on the Metro, so maybe some of you have different styles like that. So please just let us know as soon as possible if you have trouble accessing those so we can make sure that you access them. September 24th is your deadline to submit the proposal scores and submit the comments. September 24th is also the training workshop that I mentioned to you about. So we're going to be pretty busy around here around that deadline. So if you could please ask us any questions that you have, any technical questions, several days in advance of the 24th, that will ensure that we can get your questions answered. Just thinking realistically about schedules, that those last few days before your deadline, before September 24th, are going to be very difficult for us to be able to provide technical assistance. So please, if you have questions, please try to ask them in advance. The following week, after we have recovered from this training workshop, we will send out a doodle poll so that you can sign up for panel conference calls. And those calls will take place the weeks of October 2nd through 16th. And it's important to note that you're only going to be on one panel call for the most part. We need you to pick, and that is one of the hardest parts of this process, is aligning the schedules of 31 very busy people. So please let us know as soon as possible about that doodle poll and which dates you can do. And if you sign up for a date, please hold that time on your calendars. That way you can be sure to be on the phone call. It is important that all panelists be on their phone calls with the panel. It aids in the discussion with the other panelists. It does not work as well if you call us individually with your thoughts and then we have to relay that to the panel, or even after the fact. It does not work as well. So please make sure that you join the panel call on your assigned date. Oh, and that was the last slide. So I am going to thank you one more time for doing us this incredible service. This is one of the most exciting parts of our grant cycle, I think, working with all of you. You become our advisors. You have a front row view to what the agency's needs are and what they're thinking about in terms of how to address them. And oftentimes, our review committee gives us the best advice about managing and running our grant program. So if you have suggestions for us, either within the RFP process or beyond, please don't hesitate to reach out. We are always looking to improve, and we know that you have the brightest minds around in terms of looking at this. Please keep all of the proposals that you read confidential. We should have said that at the beginning, but there is an expectation that they will be kept confidential. So you certainly can speak with us about them. You can speak with your fellow panelists about them, but please don't broadcast with any specificity what you're learning from the applications. If your takeaway is that Holocaust survivors are in need and people need help and we need to help them, go ahead and shout that from the rooftops. We do it all the time, but we don't want to be sharing, information that people think is confidential. I think that about covers it. Please don't hesitate to reach out. You have our contact information. You can always reach any of us at holocaustcenter@jewishfederations.org. Please access those proposals that you should have received. Let us know if you have any trouble accessing them. And we will send you some information about the training workshop here in DC, September 24th and 25th. And we sincerely hope that you can join us. Thank you so much for helping out with our process, and I hope you have great days.